I will talk about the funding system a little bit, public funding, because when the brothers Peterson and Dr. Hagedorn were young and started the Novo Nordisk company, they didn't have access to public funding the way we have today. So in order to reach the levels that we have seen by the previous speakers at their companies, we need some kind of funding and some kind of ways to start up. I am Steen Mortensen, and I'm an investment officer in Innovationsfonden Denmark. And in principle, what we do is we evaluate applications, typically together with external scientific experts, and then we handle the active portfolio management and product follow-up of these projects. We have in Innovationsfonden Denmark the ambition that we build bridges between university and society, and we would like to cover the entire value chain from research to market. If you look at the Danish research and innovation setup, you can see that we have a lot of public and private agencies that fund basic research. And when basic research matures, then it's necessary to take over. For example, the Innovationsfonden Denmark that reaches from late basic research until the final product. So we actually give, you can say, free money to both science at universities and other research organizations and to companies. And that's rather unusual because typically most funding agencies don't really give free money also to companies. The Innovationsfonden Denmark is located with headquarters in Aarhus, but has also offices in Odense, Aalborg, and Copenhagen. The money that we give comes from the Danish state and government. So what we give of money is actually regulated. So for the year 2021, we were allowed to give in principle money to 3 different areas. That is the climate, environment, and green change. And then what we're talking about here, the life science, health, and welfare technology, and also part what we call technology and innovation that creates value and growth. This year, actually, the climate, environment, and green change got 700 million to the green area. That's a lot of money. And the life science, health, and technology within, for example, the grand solutions that I get back to, got about 180 million. The way you can actually get funded, especially if we start from you students or recent graduates, is that we have the industrial researcher, which actually is the PhD, which can be a combination of work in private industry and, for example, a university. And we have a fixed salary for these kind of PhDs. When you, for example, then has worked at university and, for example, you have a good idea, then we have the InnoExplore, meaning that you as a university or hospital employee can get up to 1.5 million crowns for a year to actually try to make your good idea into a product or into a company. You can also start being a recent graduate or having a few years experience, and you can get an InnoFounder where we actually pay your salary for a year and you can go and try to start up a company of your own. If you have then finalized to get a company up and running or small, medium enterprise, then we have the InnoBooster. And you have made a product and now you want to make a new product or you have to make some new inventions, then we can supply you with up to 5 million kroner for a period of time where you actually can pursue your idea. After that, you might go for the grand solutions. The grand solutions is projects where we typically see a number of interactive companies and public institutions that have a good idea that they want to pursue together. And here we can have, for example, up to, you can say 50 millions, but typically it's about 15 million kroner where you can have a project that runs, for example, for up to 5 years. You can also have get money by our international collaborations. There is, for example, the in Europe, you have, for example, the Horizon 2020 and now 2025, where if you're a Danish participant, you can get, for example, 300,000 euros for your project. But we also have quite a number of different international collaborations where it's possible actually to get funding. And since we in Denmark give money also for private companies, it's very typical that from Denmark we have small companies that actually tries to collaborate with other countries in Europe and also around the world to try to make new products there. A new thing is the emissions, and here it is for the green call. You can say the several hundred millions they're going to the emissions. Right now, the Innovation Fund Denmark, we have an active portfolio of about 8 billion Danish crowns. We have more than 3,000 active investments, and just in 2020 we granted 1,000 new projects. In the grant solutions in healthcare, we have more than 90 active projects. And this year, just here the 8th of April, we actually got a lot of applications for the grant solutions in the life science industry, where we have to give out 180 million kroner. And if we give away money, free money, how do we actually select the projects that you actually give the money to? And we have, of course, an idea of they should have value adding, meaning that in the end, you should end up with a product or a company that actually should have some earnings and you should have employees. But we also have the societal benefits, meaning that you could have an idea that doesn't really give money itself because it's not a product where you can earn money, but it has a benefit for example, Danish patients. And within that, we have the so-called societal readiness, meaning that how ready are we for these societal changes in your project. We have a very clear assessment criteria when we evaluate these kinds of projects. You need quality of research. You need to have an idea of the value creation, whether monetary or whether society. We need to see that you have an efficient project execution structure, that you are able to actually to go through with your project. And we lastly need to see that you can implement the results. You either end up with a company or you have to have a business strategy, what will happen with the results after the project has ended. I've just mentioned some of the projects where we have used money for stem cell research, for example, as a prolongation of what, for example, Jakob has talked about. That if other people would want to try to pursue the stem cell idea and actually make companies or groups that actually can probably collaborate with Jakob's group in the future. We have, for example, each year given 25 million to a new stem cell center. For example, in 2015, it was a stem center of neurology. And there's typically a lot of different participants in these centers along Denmark, but it could also be from other countries. In 2016, it was a cardiology stem cell center at the Rigshospitalet. In 2017, it was a center for vascular regeneration. Typically here, it was based mainly in Odense. And then 2018, we have another center, personalized approach to genome editing, stem cells for autotransplantation, and so on. And we also have 25 million this year. We don't know where it ends yet, but it's really an exciting procedure to see what will happen. But that is to tell that it's possible to gradually start up in the system with, for example, a PhD, and you could go to one of the other programs from the Innovation Fund, and eventually you will end up having a power that you can collaborate from a public point of view, or a small or big company, to be able to set up projects that actually can have a breakthrough, and in the end potentially be so popular that either Jacob or Novartis might be able to actually to either put money in or to collaborate and make further value in that respect. And that was all for me. So thank you.